Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm taking a look at the Miami Dolphins, but more specifically Tua Tagovailoa, and going over what to expect from him in the upcoming 2021 season. But before we get into the topic, question for those of you viewing: where do you rank Miami's defense for this upcoming year? Assuming Xavien Howard works it out with the Dolphins and he stays with them, where do you rank him? You got to be in top 3, top 5, top 10. Just give me a range where you think they're at, and I'll give my answer at the end. Getting straight into it though. Tua Tagovailoa, just for reference, last year started 9 games, went 6-3, threw 1,800 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Notably, though, he was at 2 interceptions for the last game of the season. He did throw 3 picks in the last game. Look at it one way or another. That is a terrible sign to end the season. That is not what you want to see. 3 picks in one game to double his amount of picks and then some. Or look at it the other way. Like, look, he actually was very efficient. He just had 1 bad game. Look at it however you want. It's your own opinion. Personally, this year, I do think Tua will improve. Do I think he'll be the guy of the next Mahomes, Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady? No. But do I think he'll be better than he was as a rookie? Yes, for a number of reasons. A, he's just going to have more reps. He has somewhat of a rookie season under his belt, and the table and the team is just completely turned to him. He is a leader of this team now. There is no debate between him and Fitzpatrick anymore. Yes, Jacoby Brissett is a decent backup, and I could see him start at some point in the season if Tua has a bad game, if Brian Flores continues to babysit him. But as of today, for week 1, day 1 of the NFL season, Tua is holding the reins of this team. So therefore, I think that's just confidence booster, will help him out a lot. So between that and the extra reps he's already had and he's entering sophomore season, that's a factor. The weapons he got has extremely increased, going from Devontae Parker to deep threat Will Fuller to up-and-coming Jaylen Waddle. You actually have a pretty good receiving room. Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, and Jaylen Waddle, they have their injury concerns, but when healthy, that's a very stout receiving core, especially when you throw in Mike Gesicki, a guy that's a top 10 tight end in the league. Tua's got some weapons, and there is no, excuses of he has no one to throw to. Yes, these guys have a high chance of getting hurt, and if they all get hurt, then of course. But I think having all those guys, plus other guys on the depth chart, such as, Albert Wilson, Jakeem Grant, guys that aren't meant to be your second and third options, but when they are your fourth and fifth best options, that's a pretty stout and deep receiving room, and I'm pretty fond of. O-line, it's not going to be phenomenal, but it will be better than last year. In backfield, Myles Gaskins. I would like to see Miami pick up a running back this offseason, whether it be in the draft. And no, I didn't expect them to get Najee Harris or Travis Etienne, but I would have liked them to shop a Michael Carter or Trey Sermon, one of those guys in the 4th or 3rd round, just to possibly pick up to put behind Myles Gaskins. But they seem pretty confident in him, and I believe in him to do better than he did last year. So I still think he has a decent read in the backfield. Everything around him is getting better. Brian Flores, just having more reps in the NFL is going to be better. And the defense he has to rely on is pretty darn good. They added Jaelan Phillips. They added Javon Holland, 2 starting players, assumingly, you already had talent, Emmanuel Ogbah, Christian Wilkins, Andrew Van Ginkel, Xavien Howard, Byron Jones. They added Jason McCourty, who's already a very good defense, and then they added some special rookies that could bring them to the next level. Tua's got the defense to rely on, and some people may think, why does the defense matter? They're not going to be catching touchdowns from Tua. Well, it matters because they'll help control the pace of the game, help control the clock, just where they're at in the point of the game. If the Dolphins had a bottom 5 defense, they would constantly be down 15, 20 points, and Tua would be put into weird situations where he's just got to throw it up and hope for the best to try and get in those 2-minute drills and get a quick score, versus having a good defense that could control the pace of the game. Brian Flores, Tua, they could work towards their strong suits of going at the pace that they like to. As far as my prediction goes, like I said, 1,800 yards, 6-3, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Do I think Tua is going to ever have the prettiest numbers, the prettiest stats, the prettiest throws? No, but as of today, the cat wins football games, and I think that is probably the most valuable stat. And you could argue, yeah, well, Jared Goff wins games, Jimmy G wins games. Those guys are both losing their jobs. And yes, I agree with that, but I still think it's so young to just move off of Tua yet. I think he's going to have an improved year. Again, he won't have this breakout year, but I do think he'll have a better year than some people are expecting. Idealistically, I think the Dolphins would love for him to get to 30 touchdowns. That would just be a pretty big milestone for him, and I don't think that's out of this world. 17 games versus the 9 he played last year. Better weapons, better protection, better schemes. I think it's possible, but just just given the fact that I've seen what he can do, I do think he has his limits. I think he's in a tough division. The Patriots are going to be better than we think. The Bills are the Bills. It's going to be tough, that's for sure. Realistically, I would predict him to be 25 to 30 touchdowns, 8 to 11 interceptions. I think he's really conservative. He doesn't really turn the ball over. The way I'm looking at that last game, it was a bad game, but bad games just happen. He's going to be, as a rookie, against the second best team in the AFC. You're going to struggle, obviously, in your rookie year with that much pressure being on you. I do think, I'm not trying to, bail him out or sugarcoat it by any means, but I do think that is an understandable circumstance, an understandable outcome given the circumstances. Like I said, 25 touchdowns, 230 touchdowns, and I'll bump it up a little. I'll say 9 to 12 picks might be a little bit better. I do think he's really conservative, but I can still see some growing pains happen to him, so I'm going to up the interceptions from a range to 9 to 12. Yards, I could see him get 1,800 yards in 9 games. He's roughly going to double the games close to, that'd put him at 3,600 yards if that was off the same thing. I would put him at right around 3,300 yards in my opinion, plus 3,300 yards I feel pretty confident in. I'd actually say probably 3,400 to 3,800 would be the range I'd pick him in. So again, my prediction for Tua is going from a 6-3 record to, I think the Dolphins can win 10 to 12 games this year. So 6-3 to 10-7 or to 12-5. 1,800 yards to somewhere between 3,400 and 3,800 yards. 11 touchdowns to 25 to 30 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions to 9 to 12 interceptions. I do think he will be better. I do think he could get a lot of wins for this team. I just think they're a very well-rounded roster, top to bottom, head to toe. They don't have a lot of holes. Of course, you can nitpick them here and there. Linebacker core, offensive line aren't the best of the best. But again, no team is absolutely perfect. I do think the Dolphins have one of the better rosters in the NFL. And therefore, I think he'll get some yards, some touchdowns, some good stats, some good wins under his belt, but definitely won't be league-leading MVP type of numbers. Again, at the end of the day, I think the Dolphins are going to care about winning, and I do think Tua can coast them along there and get them to a winning record and even get them to the playoff spot. I'll throw that in there. So my final prediction for what do I expect from Tua in 2021 is 3,400 to 3,800 yards, a 25 to 30 touchdown season, a 9 to 12 interception season, a 10-7 to 12-5 record, and a playoff spot. Those are 5 pretty solid predictions I have for Tua that I'm relatively confident in, and I do think will come into fruition. Mainly the playoff spot and the record I feel confident in. The numbers, anything can happen really. I'm not the most confident in those, but those are the numbers I would pick. What do you guys think? You tell me. Do you agree or disagree? You all for Tua? You think he's going to go all the way? You think he will be the franchise guy, the future guy for the next 10, 15 years with the Dolphins? Are you against him? Do you want the Dolphins to get rid of him now? Are you kind of in the middle like me where I think it's a little too soon to move off of him, but I do understand there should be some, skepticism around him. I'm kind of just going to give him a little more time to pan out. I think he could get some of the job done to an extent, but I still am not fully sold, but I am open-minded to it. You guys tell me you all for him, all against him, or kind of in the middle like me. And referring back to the question of the video, where do I rank the Dolphins defense? There's some tough ones in the NFL. You got the Bucks, the Washington football team, Rams, Steelers, Bears, Vikings, Ravens, Broncos, Browns have a really improved one. These are just off the top of my head. Patriots are going to be a good one. There's some improved defenses in the league, and I'm not saying those are 9, 10 teams, and then there's the Dolphins. I'm just naming the good ones that I think the Dolphins are on par with. I would say the Dolphins are probably assuming Xavien Howard is staying, like I said, I would say they're probably a top 8 defense with the upside to get higher. I just don't know what I'm going to get out of the rookies, Javon Holland, Jaelan Phillips. They have a lot on my decision. Excuse me. But top 8, I feel safe with if Xavien stays, and I can see them soaring even higher in the rankings if Jaelan Phillips and Javon Holland pan out to be really good rookies. You guys tell me, though, do you agree or disagree? As always, and of course, thank you for watching, guys. 2-minute warning.